Chris Klieman spoke to the media on Monday, talking about K-State and KU, finishing that up and moving on to Texas Tech. And one thing we heard right off the bat is Kansas State will be without Dylan Edwards yet again. Can Joe Jackson carry the load yet again? That's yet to be determined. I have faith that he can. But of course, there's a lot of things that come into play with not having Dylan Edwards. I think Dylan Edwards would have been a perfect running back to change the entire narrative of this game if he's completely healthy. If Dylan Edwards is a healthy player in this game, 100%, if we get UCF Dylan Edwards or Rutgers Dylan Edwards, I think not only is the upset in play, but almost more likely having that. Not having him, of course, is going to hurt, but I made the predictions in this first segment of the show today and in the post-game show how I think they can beat Texas Tech with the thought in mind that you wouldn't have Dylan Edwards. I don't think you're going to get Dylan Edwards the rest of the year personally, and we kind of got an idea from Chris Klieman on Monday's press conference. He talked about how there's been some imaging. He's dealing with issues with his lower extremity. I believe it's his foot or his ankle, and he said that he's just not healthy. And if he's not healthy, he's going to go. Now, Chris Klieman did mention that he wants to get out there. Dylan Edwards wants to play. It sounds like he's not having any questions about potentially not playing the rest of the season. The media did ask him about a potential redshirt, and Chris Klieman kind of batted that one away, and he said he hasn't talked to him about that yet. But you have to keep in mind, Dylan Edwards is at that perfect mark right now. He has played 4 games. He's dressed for 4 games, and he can either decide to redshirt if he wants to and not lose eligibility for the rest of the season. If that was the case, that means that he would no longer play for Kansas State this year. He could return next year, or he could hit the transfer portal. Obviously, things being up in the air. What if he does decide to redshirt? Usually, that means you're going to hit the transfer portal. What we've seen in the past, when things like this happen, when it's either not a season-ending injury, although this could turn into that. But if it happens to have some sort of drama attached to it, which of course that has happened over the last couple of weeks with his agent coming on social media, talking to people from like On3 and other ESPN outlets and things like that, and saying that he has no plans to redshirt or anything like that. If he decided to do that and drama would ensue, you could probably likely think that he would transfer out the next season. Just saying. I am a little speculating here, but I don't have any other inside knowledge. Something just to keep in mind, though, moving forward. So him being out again, suddenly Kansas State's biggest mismatch, isn't talent, it's trenches. And the trenches are going to have to step up. I think this offensive line has the toughest task ahead of them this week than they've had all season long. And we've talked about how this offensive line has been fantastic when it comes to pass blocking and slowly have improved on the run blocking side, but still not up to speed to where you would hope they would be on a Big 12 level. Now you're going into a game where you're facing arguably the toughest defensive line, and not just the Big 12, but all of college football. Can they hold suit and continue to improve over and over again when it comes to that run blocking? Or are they going to fall back behind again? Maybe go back to the Arizona game. That was like one of their worst run blocking games of the season. Texas Tech has the ability to do that to an offensive line, especially like one in Kansas State, who has struggled in the run blocking department so far this season. So they have to step up. The trenches definitely have to step up for sure. Today, Joe Jackson's rise absolutely has to happen as well. The run game still isn't good enough, and the hidden mismatch against Texas Tech's front seven has to be that run blocking, but overall, Joe Jackson has to really step up. He's got all the good things behind him, the good praise behind him, you name it. They love what they've seen from Joe Jackson over the last couple weeks. He has the ability to be a running back one on this roster, something that he most likely will hold the rest of the season if healthy himself. I just think that his confidence and belief has to continue and move forward, and obviously get a nice little push from the bullies up front. This defensive line from Texas Tech is the toughest test yet. There's no doubt about that. We've heard some quotes from Chris Klieman, said Joe's running hard, but K-State's they're not breaking games open, right? The numbers prove it. Middle of the pack in yards per carry, below average chunk plays. We're just not seeing that from Kansas State's running game all season long. And then you add in just not the defensive line, but the linebacking core of Texas Tech is absolutely insane. Jacob Rodriguez, Chris Klieman called him one of the best linebackers in the country, not just the Big 12, the country. And Texas Tech leads the Big 12 in forced fumbles. Kansas State might lead in takeaways, but Tech is doing a good job taking the ball away themselves. Something's got to give eventually. It can't be Kansas State losing the battle on the run game. Because if they lose the battle on the run game, if Avery becomes one-dimensional, if this offensive line has to always deal with pressure, something where Texas Tech got 9 sacks against Kansas in their game, put it in perspective, K-State only got 4 against Jalen Daniels and that Jayhawk offense. If they become one-dimensional and have to only throw the football, the Wildcats are in trouble. So I think I'm going to say it right now, I think the key player to this game against Texas Tech, and it's a global thing here, is the offensive line of Kansas State. Avery Johnson, we've seen him be able to do his thing no matter what. Whether it's be hero ball or last week against KU, just find a way to win. Have your most well-rounded game. I think Joe Jackson has the ability to get that run game going if the offensive line gives him the chance. So not only do I think it's the offensive line that's the key to the game, I think it's the offensive line in a run blocking schemes be the key to the game. I'll go even that deeper. I think they'll be fine when it comes to pass blocking as long as they don't become one-dimensional. That's what I think there. So one word, trust. You got to trust. Do you trust Joe Jackson to handle 25 carries this weekend? Yes, I do. But those 25 carries, are they going to be for 25 yards or are they going to be for 100 yards? That's the big question, and that'll be up to the offensive line to make it happen. Let me know, yes or still waiting, in the comment description below what you think about Joe Jackson and this offensive line. Do you think, yes, he can handle this, or are you still waiting for him to make that next step forward? Let me know about your offensive line thoughts as well.